Chapter 4. Tuesday morning, we get to school, and what do we find scrawled in big ugly marker on Joe's locker but the word faggot? Joe is outraged. "Don't they teach spelling in this school?" he goes, and then yells across the hall to Kevin Hennessy, who's wearing his usual smirk. "There are 2 G's in faggot, you numbskull!" "I didn't do it," Kevin shouts back. "Not this time, anyways." "Yeah, well, tell your illiterate friends that if they're going to call names, they should at least know how to spell them." "Okay, Fairy," Kevin retorts with an evil grin. Joe gives him a raspberry. "Liver pate," I mutter under my breath, which is code for Miss Wyman should rip his liver out, toss it in a blender, and serve it on crackers. Joe and Kevin have been doing this little dance together since kindergarten, when Kevin told the whole class that Joey didn't have a pee-pee, and Joe announced in a loud voice that he had 2 pee-pees, and Kevin was just jealous. "Faggot," Kevin Hennessy spits as the bell rings. "Numbskull of unknown paternal origin," Joe spits back. "Good one," I say. Kevin jabs Joe with his elbow, then goes, "Out of the way, lard bar," to me as he pushes his way into Miss Wyman's homeroom. Joe rolls his eyes at me and shrugs before moving down the hall to Mr. Daly's homeroom. Just another morning at Paintbrush Falls Middle School. Now, as my classmates and I settle into our seats, we have at least a couple of minutes before Miss Wyman leads us in yoga breathing. Let me tell you about the first time I laid eyes on Joe. He was 4. So was I. I and my mom were visiting Addie and her mom, when Addie up and tells me I should go check out the new kid next door. I noticed she did not offer to go with me. "Just ring the bell," she told me. So I did. When the inside door opened, there on the other side of the screen was this kid wearing a dress. "Will you marry me?" the kid in the dress asked. I shook my head. "Why?" "I'm going to marry my mother," I answered. My mother did not yet know this. "Can I marry your mother too?" "No." "Can I marry your father?" "No." "Can you play with me?" "Okay," I said. "I'm Joe," he said. "Okay." "I'm a boy," he told me, lifting his dress to show me the proof. He was not wearing underpants. For the record, he had only 1 pee-pee. "I never knew a boy who wore a dress," I told him. "There's a lot you don't know," he said. He was right about that. It wasn't the last time Joe wore a dress. He kept taking stuff from his mother's closet and trying it on until his mother finally gave him his own box filled with clothes she was through with, and he could dress up to his heart's content. He doesn't wear dresses anymore, at least not that I'm aware of, but lately he's taking to running a streak of color through his hair, and he's always got the nail of his right pinky finger painted some crazy way. Sometimes his Aunt Pam, who sells cosmetics at Ackworth and Ames but really is an artist, paints these tiny pictures on it. Faces or flowers or symbols. They're pretty amazing. Even Kevin Hennessy has been known to say, "Cool." Right now there's a scorpion on his finger on account of his being Scorpio, I guess, except that's changed, of course, and he's Jodan, but I never remember to call him any of these names du jour anyway, and just call him Joe. As for Pam, well, I'll have to tell you more about her later on, because we're halfway through homeroom period, and perhaps I should listen up in case Miss Wyman says something that might be of actual use. I do want to tell you this, though. Pam is beautiful. I don't mean ordinary Paintbrush Falls beautiful. I mean like from a whole other planet beautiful. And although she does not smile all the time, she's no phony. When she does, she's got the kind of smile that makes your chest feel 2 sizes too small and your brain 2 sizes too big. And the truth is, I can hardly stand being around her most of the time. Or at least, my body can hardly stand it. "Elections 3 weeks from today," I hear Miss Wyman saying. I had best tune us back into the action because these elections she is going on about are going to play a big part in the story. And, although I have no way of knowing this at the moment, they will play an even bigger part in the story of my life. "As you will recall, you all registered as Democrats or Republicans in the 6th grade. Or Independents," Addie pipes up. Miss Wyman gives Addie a look that's laced with arsenic on account of being interrupted. "Or Independents," she gives. "Now, anyone interested in running for student council on either ticket has until Thursday, 7th period, when the nominating conventions will take place. Republicans in the auditorium, Democrats in the media center. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Addie stir. I want to swat her with a rolled-up newspaper, but I do not have a rolled-up newspaper, and besides, I remind myself that she is not a fly. Where will the independents meet? She asks, to which Kevin goes, the girls John, and general hilarity ensues. Miss Wyman brings us to an abrupt halt with threats of detention or disembowelment. I have trouble hearing which. We have a two-party system, she says firmly, once order has been restored. But the candidates from the two parties will meet with me as student council advisor in this room after school on Thursday. Any questions? Addie raises her hand. Good, Miss Wyman snaps, grabbing a stack of papers from her desk. Then we can move on. Brittany, would you pass these out, please? Brittany Hobson jumps up. I'd be happy to, she says perkily. Brittany is the kind of person for whom active verbs and modifiers were invented. As we read about the 7th grade dance coming up in October, the announcements come on the PA, and soon we are standing for the pledge. Or not. Which explains why Miss Wyman now has that liver-eating look on her face and is saying to Addie, Miss Carl, I think perhaps you would best go see Mr. Kiley. Some of the boys go, ooh. That's enough, snaps Miss Wyman. Miss Carl, you may be excused. Addie rises to her full height, meaning she occupies all the vertical space she's entitled to instead of slumping, which she sometimes does because of her being so tall and getting called names on account of it. And she walks to the door, clutching her books. When she gets there, she turns and cradles the books in the crook of her left arm and raises her right hand high in the air so she looks, I swear, on a stack of pancakes like the spitting image of the Statue of Liberty, which I expect is exactly what she intends. And she proclaims in a voice that makes it sound like she's been listening a whole lot of times to that I Have a Dream speech. Until there is liberty and justice for all, let there be truth in silence. Miss Wyman's jaw drops. Some of the kids clap. Some laugh. Jimmy Lemon calls out, What a loser! And Miss Wyman says, That will be enough, Mr. Lemon. Deshaun Carter sends a spitball flying, but it misses Addie because she's turned and walked out and hits the A in Miss Wyman's name on the door instead. Miss Wyman sees it, and there's blood in her eyes as she yells, Kevin Hennessy! Why is it always me? Kevin protests. I didn't do it. The whole class gets laughing so hard that I forget that Addie is in serious trouble.